Hi, and welcome to our top 10 of solo games. This is a list you don't often get to see, right? So,
yeah.
How did you make your list? Let's talk about that first.
I picked games that I personally enjoyed playing solo.
Okay.
So they're not necessarily one-player games, even though that's on my list.
Okay.
But they're also multiplayer games that can be played solo. Chances are they'll probably be co-op games because they can be played solo. So
okay.
That's going to be the majority of my list.
Mine, I included every solo game that I play that is strictly solo that I liked. And then I included games that are cooperative. And then what I did was, the cooperative games are on the bottom of my list, and I put the solo-only games at the top. So 7 of my games are going to be solo-only, and those will be my top 7. Even though I might like 8, 9, and 10 better, I put them 8, 9, and 10 because they were not strictly solo. I don't know if that's fair enough, but that's what I've done. Honorable mentions for you. Okay, before we jump into that, are you a solo gamer? Do you like to play solo? Some people are adamantly against it.
I am not adamantly against it. I like playing solo games for the standpoint of kind of the same reason why people read stories. I like reading stories. I like reading books. Games, I feel sometimes are stories that I can actually make decisions in. So
I agree. I like story-driven games when I'm playing solo. I don't want to play Euro solo. I want to play, like, to get most points, like a Greek Club, there's a solo variant. I don't want to play that. But certain games where you have a story involved, and most of these you'll see have a story involved.
Right.
I do have to comment on your shirt. Are you the dinosaur guy, or what's up with you?
Don't even.
You wear the same shirt every time we do these reviews. You're the dinosaur guy.
The last time I wore a shirt that was stripy and it wasn't good for the camera.
You have like one non-striped shirt? Is that what's going on?
This is the only non-striped shirt I have, so I'm wearing it.
Wow.
I'm wearing it.
So, alright, dinosaur guy. Honorable mentions.
Actually, I don't have any honorable mentions. These games are the solo games that I would play, and because I don't have a large variety of solo games. So these games are the ones that these are my go-tos. I don't go to other ones. I guess Pandemic maybe.
Okay,
I would play that solo, but I haven't played that because I have these 10. So
there's a lot of cooperative games that would make my honorable mention. The Pandemic series, all of those, The Cure, all that. I got Gears of War, which I love playing solo, which has an AI to it. And that would probably be my number 11. You can totally play Gears of War by yourself. Play multiple hands as long as you're fine with that. And it has a great AI with it. I really like the AI in that. And then just any kind of any kind of cooperative game. You got Jason the Argonauts. I like Hoo-Ya, the military games. Some games you don't normally see. So many. Legendary can be played. Just play multiple hands. You want to play 2 or 3 hands.
Okay.
Great. So those would be my honorable mentions.
Okay.
So what is the 10th best solo game on the planet to you?
This solo game, I just discovered it, and maybe it's on my list right now because I'm enamored with it. So you know what a micro game is?
Sure.
Okay, now imagine something smaller than that. Let's call it a nano game.
A nano game.
This is a print and play game, so you can't buy it anywhere. You just have to print it off for free, but you can actually just draw these on a card. It's called Land 6. I just discovered it like 2 weeks ago. You print out these little cards, and it's just a simple little just area control game where you're trying to dominate the city using dice as resources and units. And so you're this kingdom called the Kingdom of Dice, and you use these dice to spread your guys across this small little board to destroy the Kingdom of Squares, which are these little cubes that can dominate certain areas of the board. And you're just trying to defeat you're trying to defeat the AI before it defeats you. And it's just really simple. It plays in 5 minutes. The mechanics are really easy. You can find it on BGG. Go to Land 6. Go down to the files and just download stuff. Some people have even made some really outstanding artistic versions of it. But it's a recommendation that I think you should at least try. I mean, come on. You're playing by yourself, and it's just 5 minutes. It's so fun.
No, I'm not doing it. I refuse to. I was going to. I heard about this. Then you told me to, and I was like, I can't do what you say. It makes me less of a man.
It's because you're lazy.
My number 10 will prove that I'm not actually lazy, because to play this is a lot of work. It's called Alien Uprising.
Oh my gosh. The setup on that game.
I love this game. I get hours by myself when I play this game. Okay. It will take up some table space. I got the miniatures, which I got all of them painted.
Oh, you got miniatures for it.
I got miniatures with it. I think I just kickstarted this. Somehow I got miniatures. They're all been painted and look beautiful, and the game plays wonderful. I like this game. This is Castle Panic for gamers. I like it a lot, but it's got the Arkham Horror disease where it has a lot going on.
I like you called it a disease.
Yeah, you know,
the Arkham Horror infection.
There's a lot going on, and this will probably be tied for me with Robinson Crusoe, which I like playing a lot. That's a good one to play. Solo, you can do that pretty well solo. There's a lot of scenarios there, so that's my number 10. All right, Pedro, what's next on your list?
All right, next on my list is called Adaman.
Are there any games on your list I've ever heard of?
Yes.
Okay.
This game is a game that is played on a deck of cards, but it's not played on just a normal deck of cards. It's played on a deck of cards called the Deck-Tet. If you haven't heard of the Deck-Tet, it's a card design or card system designed by, I think his name's P.D. Magnus, and so he designed a multi-suited card deck. So you have cards that have multiple suits on them, and so pretty much what Adaman is it's a solitaire game, kind of like you would play solitaire with normal cards, except you play them with this multi-suited set, and it just plays really easy. It plays really quickly. I really enjoy this game. You should check it out. You can print out your own copy of the Deck-Tet. There's like hundreds of games I say hundreds. There's dozens of games that you can play on the Deck-Tet, and this is just one that's a solitaire game that I actually really, really enjoyed. So,
are you grasping at straws right now?
No.
Okay, is it a good game?
Yeah, it is. It is a good solitaire game.
My number 9 is also a cooperative game, not strictly solitaire. It's Freedom: The Underground Railroad. This is a wonderful game. I ended up taking it with me one time on a vacation, and I was playing at night solo. My wife's like, "What is that? I want to play that. That looks great." So we ended up.
The source material is a little heavy for hey, I'm just going to take it on vacation.
I did.
Slavery.
I'm freeing the slaves, which makes me a wonderful human being.
It is liberation.
In today's world. 150 years ago, I was a terrible human being if I was trying to free people. How time changes things, right? But freedom is wonderful, and you can learn from the cards. I like reading the cards and learning about the historical figures and figuring things that were going out. The guy who designs this, I think it's Uwe Eckhart, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All of his games I like. I've met him in person. He's a fantastic gentleman. Class act. These games are wonderful. Don't shy away from this when we tease about the theme, but this is something that you can learn from if you're from another country and this doesn't necessarily resonate with you. It's a little piece of Americana in a time period, tore our country apart with Civil War. And it's just interesting, and the theme actually adds to it where you have to sacrifice human life, really, to progress what's better for more people. And you want to minimize the life that you lose, not just because of points and the game of the ending, but you start to see these things as these cubes as real people, and the cars, everything brings it to life. Fantastic game, highly recommend it, and easily be played solo, but you would need to play more than one character probably. A la Pandemic. So this would probably be my Pandemic slot, that type of game. If I'm going to play solo, it'll be Freedom: The Underground Railroad. Now you're number 8.
All right, my number 8 is another solitaire card game called, I think it's pronounced Onirim or Onirim.
Onirim, I think that's how you say it.
I think it's Onirim.
Before.
But it's a cool little solitaire game. It's designed specifically to play solo. And the theme is very interesting and strange, but pretty much you play a character who's lost in a maze and you're trying to find your way out through this maze. The version of the card game I have has all these like extra expansions to it, so if the original game gets a little easy for you, then you can make it more difficult by adding these extra things, and it's really fun. I mean, I just like to pull it out sometimes and just play a quick game.
What's the fire version of this?
Sylveon is a fire version, which is not, I guess that one's cards, but there's another one that's tiles, like Castellion or something, but this is the first one of that whole series of that whole universe.
Sylveon's my number 8.
Oh, no way. How cool is that?
Only because I forgot it and didn't put it on my list. but this is the perfect spot to put it.
Addendum.
But I really, really like this game. Sylvian with the fire coming across. I've actually been working on designing my own game based off of that system. I really, really like it. Sylvian, but my number 8 I had. So that's a solo, and I would bump one game. Would be Zombicide, which is a fantastic game. I like the story involved in Zombicide. I like how that goes. But since it's not traditionally a solo game, I'll go with Sylvian.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. All right, number 7.
Number 7. Number 7 is not normally it's normally a multiplayer game, but I like playing it solo. It's Pax Porfiriana. Have you ever played Pax Porfiriana? It is a Phil Eklund game. If you've not played a Phil Eklund game, then it's pretty much like playing a textbook. If a textbook was a game, this would be it.
Oh, he did like Megafauna or something.
He did Megafauna, BIOS Megafauna, and he also did High Frontier, which is a space one. Because he is actually a rocket engineer, which is really awesome. But this game, Pax Porfiriana, the theme is 1900s Mexico. And
you have me right there. I'm sold. Let's get this to the table.
The dictator, which I forget his name at the moment, it's Porfirio Diaz, is the dictator of Mexico, and you're trying to liberate it. And so when you play it solo, you're pretty much playing against the dictator, and you're playing cards, kind of like you would the normal game. And it plays pretty well. That I really like. The AI is really simple to use. It's not complex, and the way you play the game is how you would play the game with multiple players. Only the AI is pretty simple. So I really like it. I would like to play it multiplayer, but as a solo game, I like it just as much. So that's Pax Porfiriana.
Dictator. The tater is the worst type.
It took you a while to think that one up, didn't it?
Well, I wanted to make sure I worded that correctly to keep the word dick out of this conversation. So, the tater is the worst kind.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, so there you go. Number 7 would be Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is something, I guess in all fairness, that I play with my wife. It's really just reading stories and trying to figure it out. We don't play against Sherlock Holmes because he'll figure out in 2 clues, and you're just like, what the heck are you doing? It makes no sense.
Well, he's Sherlock Holmes. Of course
Right.
It makes sense.
It's just ridiculous. Like, it's not even fair. We play it until we're bored, and then we read and make a guess and see how we did. That's usually how we do it. But it's really a solo thing. Like, we're not taking turns or anything like that. We're playing together, but we're really playing one person, and we're going through this thing and reading it out loud together. It's more of an activity than a game, I suppose. But we had fun with it. My wife likes it. Every once in a while, she's like, hey, let's do another crime, mission, story, whatever.
A case.
Okay, we'll do a case.
Yeah.
Which is the best kind of tater. So, Sherlock Holmes, consulting detective. Number 6. What you got there?
Conquest of Planet Earth.
Conquest of Planet Earth. All right.
Conquest of Planet Earth. Conquest of Planet Earth is a Flying Frogs production game, which I'm a big fan of their games. They do Ameritrash.
I love their art.
Yeah, their art is great because it's just photographs of people.
Yeah.
Actually, Conquest of Planet Earth isn't photographs of people. It's actually drawn artwork. But the theme is super hilarious. You are an alien from outer space that's trying to conquer Earth. So the game is normally a take that game when playing against other players, but it has a cooperative mode, which is you can actually play solo, and you just play one alien race that's fighting against the humans, and it's so fun because you're on the board trying to find the cities to destroy the capital, and all these soldiers are going against you, and you have to try to fight them off.
And a superhero comes out, right?
There's a superhero. I think his name's like Captain Fantastic or something, and he just wipes the floor with you. It is so fun. It is incredibly random. The cards are incredibly fun. You can like summon all these kinds of like neat sci-fi B-movie things, and
it's a cool game.
It's fun. It tells a really fun story. The setup's a little much, but I don't mind doing that for this game. So
Did you play with the expansion?
I have played with the expansion. Yes, the Apocalypse. It's very good. You should try it.
My number 6 is Mound Builders. This is a Victory Point game. I wrote a written review of this, and the theme is just incredibly bizarre. just bizarre.
Yes,
the designer ended up talking about it. One of the co-designers talking about it, and it makes sense when he explains. I'm like, yeah. But I go back and think, no, like, all right, I get it. It's just bizarre sometimes. Things like there's literally a board game about mounds. The game is cool though because it's all of a sudden the game turns on you and you have to do something else. It's really neat. It's that whole siege thing, that
States of Siege
kind of thing. Victory Point game keeps putting out that game, but with twists and variants, and it's really cool. So, Mound Builders is probably my least favorite of those that I've played, but it is interesting enough to put on the list, and some light should be shed on it because it is so unique. The theme is going to turn most people off, but get past that, and there's a game there. Mound Builders. Number 5.
This is my second Flying Frog production game on this list.
It's like you're in love with them.
I love their stuff. Fortune and Glory, the cliffhanger game.
Also known as Indiana Jones.
It's great. It's great. It's a game where you play an adventurer looking for, I guess you're tomb raiding for the most part, and try to find these treasures and collect enough treasures to win before whatever organization is against you, either the Mafia, the Nazis, or the Order of the Crimson Hand. This game is so much fun.
The cliffhangers are cool.
The cliffhangers are fun.
All of a sudden, at your turn, there'll be like this card, and you'll be like, nope, we're not going to tell you what happens until it goes all the way back around to your turn. It's really neat.
And it's so great because you're this character and you're like, wow, this guy's really good at flying airplanes. And then you get put in a position where you're like, oh, well, you have to swim out of this. It's like my guy stinks at swimming.
Yeah.
So this is gonna just be terrible for me. But I love the story that comes out of it. The artifacts change all the time. You're globetrotting, fighting Nazis, fighting the occult, fighting mobsters. How can you not like that in a game? Fun. It's so much fun. So anyway, that's my...
The randomness might be the reason why somebody wouldn't like it.
Yes, that's why I don't like playing this game against somebody else. I'd rather play it as a co-op because the randomness is part of the fun and the storytelling.
It's that type of game.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me is Friday. I could play this game and could not beat this game. And I had my second child, my son Jack. We were in the hospital, and I just played that game, waiting on her to have the baby. Just played it over and over. I beat the game, and I've never played it since. I threw the game down, and I said, "I beat you.
Are you serious?
I have defeated." No, I'm not serious. But I did beat the game. I did beat the game, and I was so happy. I did not trash talk the game when I was done, but I was like, "Yes!" and fist bumping. My wife was like, "You are crazy. What are you doing over there?" It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. She'd already gone to bed. But that is true. But that game is so much fun, and you get so much better at it. Decisions are not obvious. You don't want to necessarily beat the strongest people all the time. Sometimes you want to lose for strategic purposes. If you play the game, it makes sense. And you want to lose on purpose because it's not a very good card for you to get now. You want to have it later. And at the beginning of the game, you want to lose a lot and almost die. And then you want to build yourself back up. And it's like, when do you lose? And it's a very fun game. You play this one?
I have not played this one.
It's wonderful, man. Like a solo game. It's probably one of the best solo games going. Actually, it's number 5.
The best. Yeah. Number 5.
The fifth best. Okay, number 4.
All right, number 4. This is going to seem like a strange one. The number 4 on my list is Core Worlds. Now, let me explain this. There is a gentleman on BGG who has done solo game conversions.
Seriously, we're doing variants on BGG?
This one game.
Keep going.
There's several solo game conversions that this gentleman has done, and maybe I'll give you the link to his page. But he did one of several games. He did one of Core Worlds. I hadn't played Core Worlds yet when I got the game. I wanted to try out this solo version. Man, was this solo version so cool. It plays like you would play the normal game, except it has this aspect of the game where you're actually moving a ship around space, collecting certain things. So you actually feel like you're floating in space, conquering these worlds, and gaining these technologies. And so the game plays just like it normally does, except there's an AI that that reacts to the things that you get, when and how. But if you like Core Worlds and you want to play that game solo, you need to get this solo conversion. It is so good. It is so good that it actually made my solo list. That's how good it was. So, if you haven't tried it out, you probably haven't, because I'm letting you know about it right now. You need to try the solo conversion for Core Worlds. You're nodding your head. You don't like Core Worlds, so
I played it once. It was all right. I mean, it was
It's a good game.
Convoluted and confusing. I don't think I understood it, but my number 4 is Zulus on Ramparts.
Zulus on Ramparts?
Something like that. And it's one of those States of Siege games.
Another one?
This one's really good.
This is better than Mound Building or whatever?
Yeah, it's better than Mound Building. Oh, yeah. And this is probably the poster child for this type of game is Zulus on the Rampart. And these Zulus are coming in. It's a really good app, too. And
okay.
To be fair, if you have the app, you probably don't need the game. It's that good. It keeps track of everything for you. But man, I played this game to death trying to beat it and trying to get a better score, and get it has different endings to it, which is really cool.
Oh.
It's a historical battle. There's
Yes.
a movie with Michael Caine in it from way back when.
Michael Caine.
But when you get to the end, you actually get a card that tells you how you did and historically what happened. So you may end up heroes, or you may have just barely won, or you may have been like the embarrassment of Britain. And it's really neat, and that was really cool. So you're constantly trying to make decisions to do this and that and the other. So Zulus on the Rampart, if you have any interest in soloing a game, this would be a great place to start, I think.
Okay.
And it's an app, so if you got iOS, I don't know if it's on Android or not, but iOS, you can do the app or buy the game. But this is, to me, this is a great place to start. You're going to get a solid game that's easy to understand. It has some moving parts, some decisions, but there's enough luck in it. There's luck in this game. You know, if things don't work out, you can.
But that's part of the story, right?
Sure,
That makes it part of the fun.
Yeah. All right, number 3.
Number 3. This is the obligatory Cthulhu game on this list, and that is Elder Sign. Elder Sign is a wonderful, wonderful co-op game that I actually prefer to play solo.
I agree.
Just because of the nature of the dice rolls and the way you would want to play where characters go, it just makes more sense to play it this way, and it's way fun. I like the Elder Sign Gates of Arkham.
Yeah.
And that's how I choose to play this game.
This made one of your top 10 lists.
Yes.
2015, is that what it did?
Yes.
The expansion? Yeah.
So much fun. You play investigators trying to shut down, or trying to gain enough Elder Signs to keep the great old one from arising. And if he arises, you have to try and beat him. But chances are, if you reach that far, you're going to lose. But this game is so much fun to play solo. It tells a really fun story. It feels Lovecraftian, and it does it really well with the dice. So, I mean, I can't say any more good things about it.
Then we won't make you do that. My number 3 is Lord of the Rings LCG. Now, I promise you my top 7 were solo games. My theory is this is a solo game they added a second player to.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that you would ever want to play this. And this is like Seasons is better with 2. This is a game is better solo, and you will want to do this solo, and I don't think you'd want another player, even if you're playing 2 decks.
You'd have to construct the deck differently if you were playing solo, right?
Honestly, I play with 2 decks.
Oh, so you play as if there were 2 players, but you play it?
I do, but
Okay,
I think they work so well. Like, you want the characters to work so well together that...
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You almost would be telling the other person what to do, or... Yeah. I don't know, but I just think this plays with 2 player better, or 1 player better. Lord of the Rings. And there's a lot of decks with this. I don't think you need all of those. Kind of get what you're interested in. There's so much out there. But you can. I mean, if you're going to devote yourself to this game, there's a lot of stuff to keep your interest. And if you're going to be a solo player and you like this system, you get the core game and you really like it, then there's plenty of material for you to keep feeding you to keep you interested. So that's pretty neat. So Lord of the Rings LCG. Number 2.
Number 2, this is the only victory point game on my list.
Okay.
That is Darkest Night.
This is a favorite of a lot of people.
By Jeremy Leonard. Man, this game is so interestingly cool. The theme is really interesting. Darkness has come over the land, and now there's a group of heroes that are trying to push back the darkness and bring back the light. And so in this game, I guess it's normally a cooperative game, but again, play it solo. You play all 4 characters, and all these 4 characters have different abilities, and you go across this map trying to find the relics to defeat the evil necromancer. And that's all this game is. It's just, you just go around searching for things, gaining artifacts, getting stronger, and hopefully you do that before the necromancer defeats you or overruns the whole town. If
I had played this game more, it would have made my list. Yeah. I call this manageable Arkham horror. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would call it that.
I think that's fair. And that's not a knock on Arkham Horror. I like Arkham Horror. I like it all over my table, but sometimes you want something that's really small. My number 2 is a game you likely haven't heard of, and I like this game so much. It was at BGG Con. I told my friend about this, and I found one copy at the Victory Points booth, and I bought it for him. And I was like, you have to try this game. 30 AD. This is about the life of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And no, you don't have to be a Christian to enjoy this game. This is a good game from a historical standpoint. And that's what's going to turn some Christians off. It's funny that I don't think non-Christians are going to be drawn to this game, but it kind of, because it's not made necessarily just for Christians, it's going to turn the Christian sect off, because Jesus may not always fulfill perfectly what he fulfilled in life. And there's a lot of moving parts about getting the apostles and disciples together and stuff like that. But I find this game to be such a good game. Throw the theme out the window for just a second. This is a fun game. And I think that if people go into the right mindset, they can enjoy it. And I'm one of those people that can just set everything aside and enjoy a game. This game is very solid. And I think even though the theme is what's also interesting about the game, it alienated people to the fact where more people aren't playing this. And people don't really play Victory Point games as much as they should, in my mind. I think it's a very solid company. This is a game I'd recommend you trying, and whatever your biases are, put them aside and play this game. It's not a preachy game. It's not a Bible trivia game.
That's what the first thing that would come to my mind is that it would feel preachy.
It isn't, and that's what's so good about it, because it looks at Jesus as more of a historical figure than as an alleged deity. And even though that's in the game, it's not the focus of the game. And because they lose them historical, I think you're going to lose some evangelical Christians who just won't be able to look at it. It's a shame, because I think both sides are alienating themselves from this game. For all I know, it's sold wonderfully. I mean, I have no inside information, but I just don't see people talking about it. And there are a lot of Christian board game reviewers I wish were talking about this game a little bit more, because it is a very good religiously themed game and a historical themed game at the same time. So, for me, 30 AD. Alright, what's the best game if you have no friends to play?
If you have no friends to play, you can always get
just make
new
top
friends.
10 lists. That's all you can do, right?
or you can have new friends from games. Sentinels of the Multiverse, man.
Good choice.
That is my top solo game.
Probably should include that on my list too.
This game, I don't think. It's very rare that I'll play this game cooperatively with other players.
Agreed.
Just because maybe I will, if it's for people who maybe are into the theme. And
Dylan really likes this game.
But every time we play that game, I tend to want to be the alpha player.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is I'll just list options, and then I'll let them do what they want with their hero.
You get pretty bossy, let's be honest.
I can be. But, if we die because they made a silly mistake, because, they should have...
punch them.
They should have made their hero deal an extra damage, instead of attacking, whatever. But this game is so much fun, and I think part of what makes the game fun is there's now so much out for Sentinels of the Multiverse. This is one of the few games that I have everything for. So far, I own everything of Sentinels of the Multiverse, and they're saying this now, they're running the end of Sentinels of the Multiverse.
I heard that.
Their last expansion is coming out in Kickstarter in February. Sentinels of the Multiverse Oblivion, and that's going to be the last one, and then there's no more Sentinels. It'll be a complete set, which is awesome to me.
Other than the variety you get, because there's more stuff physically, does the app replace the game to you?
I've not played the app, and I'm going to have to say, if I did have the app, that I would not play the app, and I'll tell you why. The app only has, I think, 1 or 2 of the expansions.
Except for the variety, because there's more stuff with the physical game. But they just came out with another expansion on the app.
The app does play good. I think the app would play better.
If I had a choice of bringing out the app or physically bring out the game, I'd just pull out the app.
The thing is, game, I have the variety, and then I have cards that are custom-made heroes that I can't...
Do you have custom-made ones?
Yeah, I have like 12 custom-made heroes and villains and stuff.
Cool.
And so I can't get those in a digital version.
No, you can't.
But I like pulling out the cards. I like laying them out on the table. I like that when you play, it's really wordy. I said this in
it's also mathy, and the app takes care of that.
Yeah, it's really mathy, but you know what? I have the Sidekick app, which does all the math for me anyway. But I like reading the story. It feels like I'm reading a comic book, and I make decisions in this comic book. So it's a really fun game. I play this almost all the time. Every time I want to play a solo game and I have an itch, I'm like, oh, do I have time? Yes, I do have time. I'll play.
If you don't have time, play the app. My number 1 is Dawn of the Zeds 2nd edition. The first edition's fine, 2nd edition's better.
Is it another Victory Point game?
Yes, and so looking for the 3rd edition. I have kickstarted it. Dylan and I love this game. This is our number 1 game, and he got me hooked on it, taught me it.
Okay.
This is another States of Siege game. It just works, man. Like, it just works. How you're going up and down these rows, and you're saving people and fighting zombies, and you're stuck inside your little town where you're trying to stay. And there's different powers, there's different characters you can find that will come into the game. It just works. Now, I'd recommend starting with Zulus of the Rampart, because this game is more complicated, even though the zombie theme...
That sounds more fun than Zulu Ramparts.
It does. I mean, British annihilating Indians probably, or Africans probably isn't as exciting. Yeah. But this game's more complicated. There's more things going on with caravans and people. And they have some of that complexity taken out. You can add it in later as a simpler version. But once you have the entire story, and once again... There's a short, medium, and long version, so you can put all the cards in, and you're getting different endings to it, which is really cool. And I really like that aspect of playing the whole game and how it came out. Okay, now I know how this ended. And it's a little bit more than just you died or you sort of died. Like, there's a whole story to it. It feels good.
That's cool.
And the different characters come out, which is really cool. Each character plays different to me. It has a different weapon, different... Like, some are healers and some do this.
Is there a lot of variety in those characters?
There is. And
that is cool.
They don't all come out every game.
Oh, that's even cooler.
Depending on which cards you put into the deck will trigger those people to be found.
Okay.
So it's pretty neat. And the shorter game, less of those people are going to come out than in the longer game. Maybe in the longer game, like, everybody eventually comes out. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But you might have them die, too.
Oh, jeez.
So Dawn of the Zeds, that's a really good solo game to eventually work up to. So I think that list is good. Do you do a lot of solo playing?
I play solo a lot, so yeah.
I think we brought up the fact that the app is taking over some of the solo playing. I got a lot of games that I can play on the app now.
I think a big part of it is because we have families, so there's not a lot of time to go out and I have weekly groups, but not enough time to play certain games that I like. And I like playing games all the time, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks.
You can like and subscribe.